Yeah, so welcome back guys to my YouTube channel, and today we are going to be looking at another thing in Archicad. We're just going to be exploring how you can do skirting for your building and interior. So this is mostly an interior oriented video because skirting is something that we do in our interiors to remove this type of joint that you see when the wall reaches the slab. So in order to hide that, you usually have skirts or skirting that goes around these walls to hide this joint that is actually showing the meeting of the wall and the slab. So I'm going to be showing you how you can create your own skirting, and we're going to be using the complex profiles for this, and I'm just going to draw the profile out and draw our skirt. So I'm going to go to my options, and then I'm going to go to complex profile, then profile manager, and then I'm going to click the blue plus there to create a new one, and then I'm going to use, you can either use concrete skirt, or you can either use concrete skirting, you can use wooden skirting, or there are many types of skirting. So I'm going to use wooden for this one. So I'm going to just look for something that is wood. So I'm going to look for something here, and we can now use it for our skirting. So let me just search for something here, and let me just enter and search it manually in the library. So I'm just going to look for wood, and I'm just going to use that as our reference, and then I'm going to create a new one, and then I'm going to just call it skirting. So that's it. I can now press OK to open up my new window for my skirt, and then I'm just going to now show and draw my skirting in the window here. So I'm going to delete this one that is there, and then I'm just going to use this reference point, this X here, to draw a new skirt. So I'm going to make sure everything is okay. I'm going to first of all change this. Okay, it's already in blue because I want you to see what's happening. So I'm going to draw my skirt, and a skirt is usually somewhere like 12 centimeters or 10. So I'm going to use 12. I'm going to draw first. I'm going to use this line here, this one. Then I'm going to draw first 12 centimeters, which is 120 millimeters. And then I'm going to come here just to draw a design for my skirt. So something like this, something like that, and then something like this, and maybe finish it off like with something like that. So to have that, and then finish it off like that, and then we make some curved points here. I'm just going to come here and make it curved like that. This one maybe I can put it down like that, and then this one I can finish it off with another curve like that. So this is our profile for our skirt, and I'm going to now just save it as a beam, because actually I can either save it as a wall or a beam, but let me just save it as a wall because it's going to be drawn on my wall. So I'm going to now press I'm going to use my fill tool to fill in my skirt. So I'm going to come here, my documents here, come in my fill tool, and then I'm going to magic wand it onto my skirt now. So I can now select it like that, and I can override the surface. You see, remember our wall was a bit like cream. I can use another color to just show some contrast in our skirt. Maybe I can put it to be something, maybe let's say this one, this paint that is sandwich, and I can actually just put it at white, because white will contrast with our wall. So I'm going to just put it at white like that, and then I'm going to save like that. So with that saved, I can now close the window, and I can go back to my ground floor, and I can draw the skirt where I want it. So first of all, I'm going to draw it in my living room. So I'm going to come to my wall. Then I'm going to change it. I'm going to go to my my custom walls, and then I'm going to look for the profile that I've just created, skirting, this one, and then I can now draw it. So it depends on how you're going to draw it. So I'm going to draw it from this area going this side, because I think that's the right position of our skirt. So let me just see if it's going to be okay. So I can just draw it like this, and make sure it's that point like that. Then continue just drawing it like this. Actually, up to that, just follow that path. So I'm just going to fast escape, and I'm going to now select the wall again, And I'm just going to make sure this is at the right point of where I want. So it's going to be at negative 100 for my living room because my living room is sunken. So I'm going to put it at negative 100, and then I'm going to now draw my skirt. So I'm going to come here, and we're just going to see what it happens, what it does for our 3D. So I'm going to draw it like this, like that, until we reach the end. Where there's an opening, you don't put a skirt because it's not actually possible to have a skirt in an opening. So I can just continue. Let me just follow the whole thing up to where the door is, like there. And then I click. So with that done, I can now come here and see what I've just done. So let me just zoom back so that you can see what's happening. See what is happening in our living room. So let me enter the living room, and you can see this is what I'm talking about for a skirt. So it's just something that shows it hides the joint from a wall up to the slab. So that is what I mean by a skirt. So I'm going to now come back to my ground floor, and then I'm going to now apply the skirt into the various rooms where it is necessary. I'm going to escape, going to come here again, I'm going to select the wall tool. First of all, I want to change it from this gray to something like black so that it becomes more conspicuous, the thinnest black. So I'm going to come to my bedrooms. I'm going to now draw it in one of my bedrooms like this one. So I think it's good when you're going from left to right, because that's how I drew my profile. Because if I draw it this other side, let's see if it goes the right way. It's going to draw it like that up to the end there, and then click. Skirting is not usually where there's something, maybe where a wardrobe is. You will not skirt that point. So I'm going to just skirt the open area. So I'm going to start from here, draw it out along around the room, so that we have some interior details for our building. So I'm going to draw it up to some point there where the wardrobe starts. That's where our skirting ends. And then I'm going to do the same for this point here, or actually this area that is all this open area, all this open space needs skirting. So I'm going to just draw it like this up to where the door is there, then click, and then I'm going to do the same with this area here. For the kitchen, we won't to be needing skirting because the kitchen area it actually contains a lot of cabinets and all those stuff. So we are just going to draw it in the areas that are going to be visible. So I can now do it from this door here, then just draw it like, let me escape and just draw it from the top here. Actually, from the top is the wrong move. Let me start from the door so that it comes out from the outside. So let me zoom in, start there, and then draw out my skirt like that. Can actually continually draw it like this for my other areas, like that, up to where the door is, like this, and click it, and it is going to draw. Then I can do the same for this point here. Then start from the dining area. Let me just zoom in and see if I have skirting there. I think I have skirting there, so I'm just going to draw from this point, and I'm just going to draw it from this area to the outside. Let me zoom out again, then come here, and draw it like this. So I'm going to zoom in, draw out my skirt like that. Actually, that's the wrong area. Let's start from this other side, because it's going to draw outside. Yeah, now this is going to be the right position. Do it up to the end like that. And then think where else is needed for, think this area here. So I'm just going to just draw it. And I'll finish off these other areas that are left maybe later. So I'm going to just show you what I've achieved for now. So I'm going to go to my 3D. Then I'm just going to let it load up for a bit, and then I'm going to now show you my skirt. So yeah, so let me just zoom out again, And we can now examine what happens when we have skirting for our. So the real thing, the wrong thing I've done actually is I've actually made the skirting go downwards because it was in negative 100 and I still left it at that point. So let me just do this. I'm going to change the height of one of the skirting to 0, and then I'm just going to pick attributes from that and inject in the other ones that I've drawn. So I'm going to take my attributes, I'm going to pick it from this cut, and I'm just going to inject it on the other ones that are a bit lower. So I'm going to do that for all of them. I'm going to come like that, take my syringe and inject in every one of them that's there. So like that, let me just continue. The only mistake I did is I did not fix the height first before I started drawing. So make sure you do and you put your height first, for the height above the ground for your skirt before you start drawing your skirting. So let me come here and just make sure it's visible by just putting attributes into it like for the other skirts. So I'm going to come here and then just inject it on the other ones. So that, like this again, and then just continue injecting them like that. I'm going to Control Z that, escape, and take the syringe and make sure I zoom into my skirting. And then I now inject it, the attributes there. So let me come to my syringe again, inject it there, syringe again, and then inject it there. So I think these ones are actually enough for us to see or judge what's going on. So let me make sure these ones for dining 2 are these ones that are visible. I'm going to change them to come to my dining and inject them attributes there. Then do the same this other side. Let me take the syringe again, zoom in, and then inject my attributes like that. So after I've done that, now I can now go into my 3D and just see what I was doing, if it makes sense actually. So just going to let it load a bit, then can now examine what's happening. So yeah, after I finished off and loaded all the parts, you can see this how my skirting looks like. It's just a basic skirting that is going to show you how your walls are going to join into or are going to connect to a slab. So I'm just going to make sure all these joints are seamless, and because it's a wall, I can now just make them, I can just join them like this. Let me show you. I can shift, let me escape, I'm going to shift and select the other one like this. And then I can just make them joint like that. So I pressing this joint here, and it's going to join them, become one. So that's how you make your skirting. And if I can just zoom into my bedrooms, let me just orbit first, and then I can enter into my bedrooms. Let me just enter one bedroom like this one. And you can see this one, you can see this skirting comes out well, the bedroom area, because it just shows how it goes around the whole house. So that's how you actually do your skirting. Let me just zoom again. First, zooming just goes fast and a bit. So let me just enter. And that's how you do your skirting. You just use your complex profile and draw your profile for your skirt, and then you now draw the skirt in your plan. So let me just show you again for this bedroom. Actually, let's just see this one. You can see it's just something okay, just going around your walls like that. So that's how you do your skirting, and it's something that it is usually done in most of all of the buildings, especially those ones that are in residential houses and those type of buildings. So hope you have learned how you do your skirting, and it's just a matter of drawing a profile and now drawing it up in your plan. So thanks for watching, and make sure you stay subscribed. And if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe so that you can continue having these small creative videos about Archicad, or you can know how to design a whole building or a home for yourself in Archicad. So thanks for watching.